Shooting from the Lip features views and opinions from smart, funny, serious, and not so serious people. This show is intended for a mature and not so mature audience. Enjoy the show!
What is up, everyone? Kevin Hale up in this house on this Monday night, June 19th, 2017, giving it to you live via Blog Talk Radio. Hope everyone had a great weekend as we head into the work week. Turning on one of my co-hosts, contributors tonight, Jeni Jaggers. What's up, Jeni?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing okay for a Monday. You?
It was a long day. You know what? I'm not going to lie. It was a long day for me, too. My daughter's in Texas, and I've been going out a little more than I anticipated I would with her out of town.
Mm-hmm.
So, and, you
not
know,
a bad
as much
thing.
as I want to no, but as much as I want to believe that I can still do things like I did, 10 years ago.
Just stop. No, you've accused me age-wise of, being a potential dad to you. If Daddy can do it, you can do it. All right. But yeah, we got to.
All right then.
Yeah. What's was it? I think it was Friday night. We all hung out. So we had a good time. We're having good times. The music thing is bringing us all together, and that's a good thing. So.
Yeah, I appreciate you kind of helping to get me back into the scene. It's been good for me.
Yeah, it's especially the ones with the talent that you've got something there, Jamie. It's a gift, and well, not just a gift. I'm sure you've developed it and skilled it to your to your potential as well. But you got something there. You gotta make it happen. So I'm gonna do my part.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
So all good. Tonight, we're going to kind of be aggressive tonight. First guest, Aaron McGahee, is going to come on and talk about his business, which is Spark Weapons Training. Very cool gig that he's got going on. I want to talk about that. And then segment 2, Russ will be part of the show, I'm assuming, as we do our round of shots, shooting on local and national trending topics. And then the last segment, around 11-ish, Dan Oliver with Dano's Seasoning, local entrepreneur. Well, both these guys, local entrepreneurs, going to talk about their business stuff. So, Jamie, without further ado, to get the party started, turning on his mic, Mr.
Sure.
Aaron McGahee. Aaron, what is up, brother?
Hey, how's it going?
It's going, man.
Hey, Aaron, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, how are you? Thank you for having me.
Of course.
Tell us, Aaron.
I want to start something first.
Go ahead.
I have to say this.
All right.
I just want to say, Aaron and I both went to Seneca High School, so we have to start out with a little shout out to the Red Hawks.
Oh yeah,
to
the Red Hawks. Yeah.
Okay.
Fellow Red Hawks.
And not only do you
sorry.
have that in common. No, it's all right. Let's go on and talk about another thing you guys have in common. The whole military
That's right.
thing.
We're both Air Force veterans. Well, I don't know if
Yeah.
you're in or not.
I'm actually still in the Air Force. Yes.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I didn't know if it was still a thing or not. So, are you in the Air National Guard or?
I am. I'm in the Kentucky Air National Guard. That's correct.
Okay, so were you ever active, or have you been Guard the whole time, or?
I've been Guard the whole time, but we do a lot of training and deploying in my unit, so I got a decent amount of active duty time.
Of course, absolutely. I have zero doubt.
Well, Aaron, before we start talking about your business, give us a little background. We know about Seneca. We know Air Force. What else is something about Aaron McGahee that we don't know? What has brought you to this time of your life?
Okay. Let's see. A little bit about me. First thing, I heard the intro to the show. It was like for serious people and not so serious people. I was like, well, at least they left room for me because I'm definitely one of the serious people.
Yeah.
I laugh, but I don't laugh all the time. Nothing personal. Just
no.
I am. But about me, I joined the military 17 years old, right when I got out of high school. In between that, I did some mentorship. That's probably one of the coolest things I did, like growing as a person. Mentorship at the Blue Grass Challenge Academy. That was on Fort Knox, and pretty much it's like at-risk youth they're between the ages of 16 and 18, and it's like, I don't know really how to put it without it sounding too bad, but it's like it's either jail or boot camp. And so a lot of them, they volunteer to come to the boot camp, in a chance to get another shot at success. And so we have about 6 months to, teach them manners, teach them, how to become young men, young productive men.
Right.
And so I helped to graduate about 3 platoons. And I mean, that was a great experience because I learned a lot from those kids.
Wow. So I mean, that adds a whole new dynamic to what we were going to talk about tonight. I didn't realize that you played that role, in a sense with the youth, which is amazing. It is some, I guess, real love, tough love kind of thing, because these kids are obviously at a crossroads in their life where you now can step in and make a difference. So that's cool.
Correct. In the beginning, it was like, I went in with this straight kind of cliche attitude of I'm going to be the drill instructor. You're going to listen to me, and what I say goes. And I learned real fast that that's not how you teach someone. That's not how you get through to people who are used to that kind of aggressive mentality. They're used to all that. They're used to the threats, the intimidation. They're used to the cussing. They're used to the violence. They've become acclimated to that. What they're not used to is somebody listening to them. They're not listening. They're not used to someone, saying, speak your mind. Tell me how you feel, and letting them complete their full thoughts to the point where they're just listening to themselves talk. So that's one thing I learned is just kind of stepping back and allowing someone to have the floor and letting them vent. That was one of the biggest things for me, because I would be, in the beginning I was just like, no, what I say goes. And then I learned if you give them the floor, you give them a chance to tell you what's going on, then maybe you can help them. Or maybe they just want to talk. Maybe they've just been told, shut up all day, and they don't get to say their piece. So
that's really interesting. How did you find out about that program?
So there was actually a program, because I'm out at the Kentucky National Guard, and so they were asking some of us if we would go out there and help for the first 2 weeks. And so they put us on state active duty days to just go out there and help with the NDOC portion, just the 2 weeks to, that's like the roughest part, where you bring them in and you get them out of their civilian clothes and get them into a uniform, and they don't know what's going on, you don't know what's going on, it's just chaos. And so there's a lot of yelling and screaming, and so that was just the 2 weeks. You do your 2 weeks and then you bounce. But I did my 2 weeks, and I don't know, I just wanted to stay and see how I could help out more. And so I opted for two more weeks, and then 2 more weeks. And then, I just put in a job application. It was like, I'd like to come out here and help full time.
Wow. So how long did you end up doing that?
I did it for a year and a half. So I graduated 3 platoons, about 160 to 180 young men.
Cool. Great.
Very cool. You also do, what's the personal security detail?
Okay, so that was actually an assignment that I did during a deployment. So PSD, it was mainly just, guarding key personnel on missions, just bodyguard. I think at this point everybody knows what a bodyguard does, but in Afghanistan, that's just what I did. I don't do a civilian side. Maybe one day. You're not
pit bull. You're not part of his entourage or anything like that.
Okay. No, not yet.
What year did you graduate from Seneca, Aaron?
I'm
sorry. What did I miss?
Back to the fun stuff. See, I like her questions. I graduated in 06.
I totally missed that. Oh, okay. I graduated in 04. So I guess that you would have been a sophomore when I was senior.
Right.
Right?
Even if we were in the same class, we would have never talked. I was an outcast.
I was actually not, I was kind of the same way. I had my 2 or 3 really good friends, and I didn't really go beyond that.
Yeah.
Now, why were you an outcast, Aaron?
I was an outcast for multiple reasons. One, I was a huge nerd. I was really into computer games, really into anime, really into, this is embarrassing, I was into Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon and Digimon.
The truth will set you free.
Dragon Ball Z.
Purge it all out now. Get it all out. Before we start talking about your single status, get all this Yu-Gi-Oh! stuff out of the way.
Yeah. I like her questions a lot more than I like your questions.
Oh, damn.
But no, so how I was definitely into all that, and then I was just a socially awkward person. I didn't really know how to make friends. I didn't know, and I wasn't into pop culture then, just like I'm not into pop culture now. And if you don't follow the trending thing, it's just really hard to socialize with people.
Well, no, that's a good point.
Yeah.
If we only could put our phones down for more than 5 minutes, we'd all probably.
See that okay. Now we got some traction, because that I don't agree with. I don't agree with the whole cell phone. Yeah, I don't agree with the cell phone ban thing. Everybody wants to put the phones down. I like the phones. I think the phones help us connect. I think they're a tool. I don't like blaming. And this is kind of appropriate. I don't like blaming the tool. I don't like blaming the gun. I like to say that it's a tool. It helps us. It gives us the ability to hyper-connect. But there are moments, those intimate moments, where, it's a little inappropriate. Like if you're sitting at dinner, no, you shouldn't have your phone out. But when someone shoots you some kind of story and you can search it throughout multiple sources and find out the truth on your own, that's when it becomes a powerful tool. Maybe for reference, it's a powerful tool in connecting.
Well, hell, Jamie, you keep talking from here. It's like everything I'm throwing out there, it's like he's I'm causing.
Well, okay. I want to know what inspired you to go ahead and start up your business, and what your vision is for that.
All right. So I like everybody. Like when I first thought about creating my own business, I had a lot of negative self-talk. And it was like, don't nobody care about your dream. You don't have the resources, you don't have the connections, stuff like that. So it was like, it shot it down in my mind before I even, bothered to look at the paperwork. And so, I was on my third tour. I was in Iraq, and I just, I was like, I keep signing up for these deployments. And if I can put my life on the line for the country, which is an honorable thing to do, I love it, and I would not trade it for anything. But I just felt like if I could continually put my life on the line for the nation, then I could at least put my life on the line for my dreams. And I could put my life on the line for my happiness. Because what I'm trying to do now, it is my dream. It's my passion.
Wow.
So I decided to go for it.
And how long is this?
How long
has this been going on?
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. I think you're asking the same question. Go ahead, Jamie.
Yes. Yeah, we asked the same thing.
Okay, that's good. Good. We're all on the same page now. No, but I've been doing this. I got back from Iraq late February. So as soon as I hit the ground, I started. As soon as I got home, and I know I'm supposed to take some time and relax, but I was like, it's time to go, because I wanted to at least get the name out there, But I had to get all the paperwork done. So I started as I got home. So it's been about since late February. But I mean, we're still in the infancy. We haven't even had our first course. And I mean, the goal for me was to start the marketing early so that we could create that interest. So people would know who we are. So we didn't go into main operations and people would be like, I didn't even know you existed.
So what are the things that you're doing to get it off the ground? What kind of training are you doing? Are you doing individual training with anybody, or?
Oh, so are you talking about, I'm not sure what your question is.
I think you personally, right?
So,
are you
Aaron,
doing personally?
one-on-one training with anybody?
So this will be a classroom setting, and we're going to start out with about 10 trainees per course and work out the kinks in the lesson plan, work out the kinks in the logistics and the kinetic movement and the kinetic training, and then we are going to bump it up to 20 once we get comfortable with that.
Gotcha.
But as far as preparing for the courses, me and my team, we have been, meeting and getting paperwork taken care of, getting uniforms squared away, and just getting revved up for it.
Now, so, Aaron, you've got 3 levels of types of training.
Correct.
Talk about the level. Yeah. Talk about those.
So I wanted to. So, I want to put it out there that this is mainly weapons training for amateur gun owners. This is not for professionals. This is not for, veteran gun owners who, train on the weekends. If you know what you're doing and you've been doing it for years, and yes, you're still going to learn something. And if you're in need of a refresher, please join up. But this is mainly for amateur gun owners. So we take you from the moment that you become a gun owner, and we start you out with, the novice level. That's the first level. There you go through nomenclature, which for those that don't speak French, that's just the names of the parts of the weapon. And then we go into, maintenance, how to take care of it. And then we go into handling, how to hold the gun. We've all seen plenty of YouTube videos of what happens to people who don't hold guns properly and then pull the trigger. They're usually not holding a gun.
Those make for funny YouTube moments because I'm always rooting for the gun to crack upside the head.
Right. But at Spark Weapons Training, we are not looking for those golden YouTube moments. No.
There you go.
Not on my watch. On somebody else's watch, it's funny, but it's not funny when you're the person that's in charge.
Okay.
But the next level is
why? Oh, I'm sorry, you weren't done. Go ahead.
Yeah. I have 2 more levels to go through. Let's see. The next level is apprentice, and that's kind of like the meat and potatoes. That's where you're going to learn the bulk of the information. There you're going to learn, safety, of course. That's going to be in every course. Safety is paramount. Then you're going to learn handling, loading, unloading. You're going to learn some reloading, how to fix your weapon if it jams in a fight. And then we're going to do like drawing and like holstering, and then like marksmanship fundamentals, how to properly aim the weapon. And then the last one is advanced. I was a little back and forth on whether to call it advanced or expert. I just didn't want anybody to walk away from our course talking about they're an expert. It just doesn't sit well with me.
Yeah.
So I went with advanced on that. And there you're going to learn more of the clearing a jammed weapon, and you're also going to learn like combat posture. How do you get behind a barricade? How do you stand when you fire? And what are the different positions? And then combat readiness this is where the ideology comes in. This is where we do more self-defense coaching. And in combat readiness, we start talking about what do you do physically to put yourself in an advantage when you feel your spidey senses start going off. Like, something bad's about to happen. What do you do to put yourself in an advantage? And then after that, we go into react to combat. And react to combat is just going to be drills and more digging into that ideology of how to actually engage in a fight. And it centers around the threat area or the threat bubble. And we teach you how to treat a threat area or a threat bubble.
What's a threat bubble?
Yeah.
So, good question. She's got the best question. A threat area or a threat bubble is the area from whence harm comes. It's so something bad's going to happen, and you need to figure out where it's coming from. Once you figure out where it's coming from, you can put a bubble on it, or you can consider that the threat area. And you treat the threat area, you just put a bubble around it, and you always pay attention to it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just from the area where you think harm's going to come from.
Well, okay, all right. Well, I appreciate your compliment, but I do have to credit the Air Force because I was a broadcaster, so I asked questions for many years on active duty. So
I can see where that can go horribly wrong, though.
Well, here's the other question. I mean, I don't want to make you uncomfortable or anything, but you are a very nice-looking man. So how are girls supposed to concentrate when you're teaching them all of these moves?
Yeah.
Come on, go ahead, Aaron. Keep saying that she asks great questions. Come on, I want to hear that. Go. Another great question, Jamie. Because the truth is, Jamie, the truth is, Jamie, you look at Aaron and his pictures with, holding the gun, pointing the gun. I mean, this is kind of like, Criminal Minds type, see, this is like, he's got that whole look. I think he could pull it off to go Hollywood on us. But, all right, I digress. How do you handle that situation, though? Serious question. Females.
So the way I handle it is I acknowledge the interest, because ignoring things never works. So I acknowledge it, I respect it, and then I just say I'm not interested, which some people take very well and other people do not.
Right. Well, I think that's really important to in life. That's a very good skill to have, to be able to acknowledge things and not hide under a rock.
Correct.
So.
And running from things, and that's just kind of how I am. I always face things head on. It's an old wives' tale that a good ship captain never lets a wave hit the side of his boat. You turn the boat straight towards the wave and you give it full throttle and you try to get over the other side. And if not, at least you go out looking real cool. Yeah, you flip completely over. Hey, if you're gonna go out, go out with a bang.
That was my only question regarding the females. I promise I was just
good.
Giving you a hard way to go.
Bad.
No,
You
I just had to tease you a little. That's all.
Okay. So we teasing now.
Exactly. Because the girls see the pictures of you, and then they're like, oh, so this is the trainer.
Yeah, it's been interesting.
I'm sure that you get all types of inquiries. So anyway. Another question, if that's okay. I have one more.
Go.
Is that okay, Kevin?
Go.
Can I jump in? Thank you.
So
I'm assuming, well, I think it's obvious that you would be pro Second Amendment. So can you talk a little bit about why you think it's important for people to arm themselves in the first place? I mean, why do you want people to be interested in this? Why do you think it's important to begin with?
Good question.
It's a good question. It's a fair question. So the reason why I think it's important for people to arm themselves is because, one, that's the foundation of our nation. It's what it is. And so if we're going to have that, if we are going to be armed citizens, then we should all be responsible enough to have the training to ensure that there's a proper balance of force. Because I don't know, it just seems like when the conversation of gun control gets brought up, it's always contextualized around criminal. Every time. They're always talking about criminals when it comes to gun control. But what does gun control mean to a law-abiding citizen? Nobody talks about that side. So that's the conversation I like to have. Is gun control for law-abiding citizens? It's a less restrictive conversation. It's not talking about restricting or taking away. What gun control for a law-abiding citizen means to me is education. It means training. And so I would like to provide that education and that training. And it'll help people feel, one, more comfortable with the weapons, and it will make them feel more comfortable in their own skin and in their own house. Because there's no, you can't be self-determining unless you can be self-preserving. So if you can't defend yourself, then it's kind of hard to feel comfortable at night. But so I think a little way to shorten it is, I like to provide people with the opportunity to push people back over the line if they cross it.
Well said.
Okay.
I like it.
Do you think that most people should be armed? Do you think that people should own guns by and large?
Well, see, that's the great thing about what we got going on here in this country. You do whatever you want. If people don't want guns, don't have guns. If you do want a gun, get a gun. But if you do get a gun, you got to be responsible, and you have to get some training. That's the one thing that bothers me and I have friends that are the same way. They have guns, and they cannot tell you a part on the thing.
Right.
They have weapons, and they can't show you how to reload it. They can't show you how to fix a malfunction. They have no education. They just have the gun. And so what I want to provide is for those individuals. So I want to provide the opportunity to get that training, to get that education.
So was the military your first taste of weaponry, or did somebody else prior to that? Did you grow up with a background in this, or?
I did not. The military was definitely my. It was a whole new world for me. Coming out of my circumstances and from where I was living to going into the military. I was a huge anarchist, huge rebel. But it was all bark, no bite, and they introduced a lot of things to me, like discipline. Discipline is definitely my grace. It's my saving grace. But yeah, that's most definitely where I learned the bulk of the knowledge that I would like to pass on to other people.
I completely understand that, man. I was a little bit of a mess before I joined the Air Force. Being in basic training, I would like to say that we were all a mess. We were all a mess. Oh, I know. I mean, I was a hot mess though. So.
Whoa, yeah. Let's clarify.
Yeah.
So I totally know what you're talking about. Air Force, it wasn't for me for 20 years, but it changed my life, and it completely changed my outlook and helped mold me into the woman that I am. So I totally understand that completely.
Well, I got to give a shout out to the Air Force because my oldest, Kelsey, married her high school sweetheart who's in the Air Force. He's stationed at Andrews Air Force Base and right outside of or DC. So that's where they live. And so I'm feeling the whole Air Force vibe here tonight. So you got your Spark classes, your courses, Aaron, starting up in July. Correct, right?
July 15th will be the first round.
How long is each round?
So each round is going to be each course is about 2 hours. And then we're looking on changing from that depending on what we find when we run our first courses. I mean, there's going to be a lot of audibles. Everybody knows that the plan doesn't survive first contact with the enemy. But the first round, if you do all three, it's about a 6-hour day. 6 to 7 hour day, and that's going to allow you to go from gun ownership to protecting yourself, protecting your spouse, protecting your house.
Very cool.
Well, congratulations on starting your business and following your dreams and taking those steps. And this is an exciting time because this could turn into something really big.
I hope so. I just want to help. I mean, that's the biggest thing here. I always keep that at the forefront of my mind when I'm going through things is, looking at the bigger picture and why we're doing it. The why is always first and foremost in me and my team.
Right. How many, I don't know if you said that, if you said it, I didn't catch it. How many are a part of your team, Aaron?
Right now we are 10 strong. And
oh, wow.
The 6 of us are the cadre and the rest are support staff.
Okay. Very cool. Wow. So July 15th is your day
Correct.
one of
and
the.
They can.
Go ahead.
Correct. If they like to sign up, they can go to www.sparktraining.com. It's the very first page is where you can see all the courses, and you can check. If you want to do one course or if you want to do all 3, there's a little bit of a discount there.
Okay. Cool. What's your? You mentioned your sparktraining.com. What about other social media where people can connect with you?
So we have the website, and then we have a Facebook page as well. You can find us. It's facebook.com/SparkTrainingLLC, and that will bring up our business page. We share a lot of content on there, and I'm trying to boost it up a little bit more too. We're trying to launch into Instagram. Slowly but surely, we're getting in there.
There it is. Aaron McGahee, Spark Weapons Training Company owner, single. Air Force, single, all these late single.
He is a very, very nice-looking single man.
I've already got them. You don't know how many people. You don't know how many people messaged me. Right. Several people messaged me. Like, who's this guy? Yeah. What's up with this guy? I'm like, I don't know. Tune in. Find out yourself.
Tune in.
Yeah.
Well, now that they know that I was in Yu-Gi-Oh, it's probably all over with anyway. All that following gone.
As a bro code, I'm gonna probably edit the Yu-Gi-Oh part out just to.
Thank you so much.
Keep your momentum going forward. Yu-Gi-Oh. Very cool, Aaron. Man, thanks for hanging out with us tonight. Wish you the best,
Thank you for inviting me.
We'll stay in touch. I want to follow how this is going for you. So
it was really great to get to talk with you. Have a good night, Aaron.
You too. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Aaron McGahee again, Jamie, Spark Training, Spark Weapons Training, SparkTraining.com.
Mm-hmm. Let's just say that's Spark with a C, by the way. Spark with a C.
With the C, SPARC, right? So,
yeah.
Turning his mic on, who he decided to join us tonight, Russ Hinkle.
What's up? I mean, is it 10 o'clock yet?
Yeah, we're on time. Where you been?
It's been a while since I was fashionably late, and I feel like I didn't want to steal any of Jamie's thunder because I know she was over there. Did somebody get you a tissue, Jamie, to wipe up the saliva, or
I'm sorry, what was that?
The drool.
Drool.
There
was no drool. I'm very happy in my relationship. I'm allowed to notice when a man is a nice-looking man without any drooling.
I mean, it might not have been drool. I just felt all the heat. I definitely felt the heat somewhere coming off the word. Anyway.
Here we are, second segment of the night. This is where we do our round of shots. Russ and Jamie are going to partake in this little fun soiree that we do. When it comes to the local scene, guys, arguably the top local topic in the last week or so has been the NCAA and their response to U of L men's basketball. They kind of laid the hammer down where their response is the punishment is that forfeited games will happen during this 4-year window, which was 2010 to 14. Coach Pitino will have to sit out the first 5 games of the ACC regular season. Jamie, I know you're a Louisville fan. You were there when they won the tournament or won the title in 2013, a title that is potentially might be handed back to the NCAA. As a U of L fan, what was your response when the sanctions came out?
Well, it was typical of what you see, anytime like March Madness is going on and stuff like that. People that are U of L fans were pretty much pissed. I really don't think you're going to find a U of L fan who would not just livid about that, especially because, I think our self-imposed punishment was harsh because it punished players who had literally nothing to do with that, who chose that college.
That's why. That's a great response, which makes it even worse of a response from Louisville because you're punishing kids in this case, who had zero to do with this. But go.
I agree. And I didn't necessarily think they should have done it in the first place. I was pissed when they did it. I didn't understand it. I don't claim to know a whole lot about the shenanigans that go on in the NCAA, okay? I love basketball. I've been watching basketball since I was a little girl. But I was pissed about it. And I think, not that it matters and not that anybody is really surprised, but of course Kentucky fans are, you deserve it. And people were just posting shitty things on social media about how we should have gotten worse. And, it's just pissing me off, the whole thing. I think they should totally repeal it. And, hopefully it won't be as harsh of a punishment. My big thing is don't take away the title. I was there. I know who won. They can't really take it away in my eyes.
But if they're playing out, if they're playing players, Russ, who would be deemed ineligible to be playing in those games to begin with, a la Trez Harrell, Shane Bohannon, Russ Smith, guys who
obviously the recruiting efforts actually ended up working out in our favor. So maybe the NCAA needs to start, realizing that prostitutes get really great recruits.
Well, actually,
yes,
technically,
they won the national title.
Well, they won. Here's the response: that they won the tournament not because Russ Smith, Shane Bohannon, and Trez were recruits that benefited from this. They were existing players who partook in this. The recruits that were subjected to this are the ones that the better recruits did not go to Louisville, that testified to the NCAA. So let me bring Russ in.
I was totally kidding. I was totally kidding about that.
All right, Russ, when you heard the news, what was your take?
Well, I got 2 takes here. One, I hate the NCAA with a passion. They're a bunch of good old boy, it's like, mafioso types as far as I'm concerned. And, they've done everything they can to create a monopoly for, college athletics, which, that's one thing. But to be just as absolute indignant as they are and knowing that they have, there's higher ups at the NCAA that have probably engaged in all kinds of, backroom dealings and things to try to seem all, they got to, it always comes back to they have to, show out in front of their, church-going brethren and say, oh, yeah, we don't tolerate, any shenanigans. It's all, very Christian of us. We're really good. We're good people. So anyway, I have no, I don't think anything should happen. I think they should, sanction the coaches who made the mistake. Kids can't be held accountable at that point. Sanction the people who fucked up and move on. Now, if big money changed hands, we're talking about a few, $200 hookers is what we're talking about here. So, whatever, they had a little bit of a foul there. If you don't think that alumni has had their, wives, daughters, nieces, and everybody else down at Alabama and Tennessee and, Mississippi, all the Southern SEC powerhouse and the Big Ten powerhouse football colleges, if you don't think they've had some shenanigans, of course they have. But with that said, I will defend the Kentucky.
Not like that, Russ, not like that. Whenever
just like that. Just like that.
No,
Probably
that's
worse.
bullshit.
Probably way
that
worse.
is bullshit. You
Cars,
for anybody to make a statement
boats,
that all universities do bring in fucking whores
lots,
and prostitutes.
lots,
No,
lots.
I don't buy
Yes.
that. No, they don't.
They're called co-eds. They're called sorority girls. They're called whoever they got to do.
There's your difference. The smart school would have said, recruits, this is your lead or your liaison. This is who's going to guide you through the night, which is a student. That's different.
Okay.
If
you have co-eds come over and buy them dinner and rent them a limo, that's different. I see.
No, co-eds would not be doing that. That's just it. The smart schools are not going to have the co-eds do that.
Oh, so you don't think any alumni-funded parties went on, huh? Where they had, chocolate fountains of fondue cascading down and shit like that. None of that?
Here's the thing. Here's the response to that.
Calipari has Drake show up. You think that's free? What do you think a young college guy who likes rap is going to want better? A prostitute that they can pick up girls all the time, or get to hang out with Drake?
Well,
come on,
here's my response to you on that, Russ. When you're bashing Trump and then someone goes, well, Obama used to do this, and you go, ho, we're real time. Let's stay in the now. The now is Louisville. Louisville's the ones that got busted, that have acknowledged this crap. This is not about any other school. So fucking what if another school does it? The point is that
you're right.
You got a school.
But the point is that they've looked past lots and lots of stuff, but the people in charge here were so stupid and careless that they're put in a position where they have to say, well, we got to set some kind of example here. So that's where they are. So punish the people who are stupid. Don't punish the program. Punish stupid people.
That I agree with as well.
Make sure that coach can never coach again in the NCAA, as far as I'm concerned. Hell, Patino can never coach again in the NCAA, as far as I'm concerned.
That's my next question.
But don't punish the kids and don't punish the program, is what I say.
I'm totally.
Unless it's just like blatant payoffs. I mean, blatant payoffs would be one thing. They need to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that this helped the team. But now, in defense of Kentucky fans, because you hear a lot of U of L fans like saying, "Oh, Kentucky fans are this, Kentucky fans are that." Some of them are doing it just to be pricks, but some of them remember all the U of L fans that said when Calipari came to Kentucky, just wait, you are going to be under probation, you're going to be this, you're going to be that. So some of the UK fans that are firing back right now are remembering how much shit they got when Calipari came, and that it was going to be team turmoil and all this shit.
Mm-hmm. Now, Jamie, with the fact that Coach Pitino, and I say Coach Pitino because he was our coach at UK, and he meant a lot. He'll always mean a lot to me in the UK program. But this is Pitino's kind of second time, if you will, in the waters of sexual scandal. Is it time for the athletic program to say, you know what? Maybe we need to move forward. We need a breath of fresh air here. As a fan, do you think Pitino should step down? Jamie, hello.
She's muted. She's muted herself.
If she's muted, okay. Oh, no, actually, she dropped. Well, Russ, I asked you the question while Jamie, she's coming back. Russ, Pitino,
I'm here.
Stay or go? Oh, yeah. Did you hear that question, Jamie?
Well, I was talking the whole time. You had me muted.
No, you.
So, can you hear me now?
Okay. Yeah, you actually had dropped.
I heard.
But anyways, go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
Well, I heard a little voice say unmuted. Okay. So, anyway, I do not think it's time to move on. I don't. And as a person with a military background, I know I lean on that a lot, but it's important, I think, because I do come from like a team type of background where leadership is a really big deal. And there's, almost a pyramid, if you will. And there's a commander, there's somebody in charge, and there's people under you. And, you do see leaders get in trouble when their people are doing stupid things. But I'll tell you this, a bunch of kids in the dorms, you cannot control that 24/7. You cannot know what is going on in there 24/7. I believe that he didn't have a clue. I really do. I just think that, this was one idiot out of so many people who he's been, a part of their career, who have gone on to do great things. And then this one asshole who ruined it for everybody. I don't think it's time to move on. I think it's being blown out of proportion.
Russ, do you think? I personally, I kind of agree with her. I don't think this was just on Andre McGahee and Andre McGahee only. I think you had boosters involved. And you had current players who were playing, not recruits, playing under Pitino at these parties. I'm having a hard time struggling with the fact that if Pitino didn't know, someone very close to him should have known and should have said something to him. Because, go ahead.
I'm going to defend Pitino because here's the thing. When you're he's somewhat of a storied coach. I mean, he's won national championships at multiple schools. He's had he's done some amazing things as a coach. So in that situation, he becomes revered. So this is a revered coach. I'd say at this program, he's a revered coach. Even the staff is not on that level. They're not the celebrity status who Rick Pitino is. No player, or let's say this very limited players, will come through that program and gain more status than the coach himself. I mean, there'll be a few blue chips here and there, but the coach is the celebrity here. So with that said, with these younger coaches that they're on the come up, they become friends with the players, they become buddies with the players. There's a whole different social element below Rick Pitino where these guys are going to keep it on the down low. I mean, I'm just saying just like if me and you were in a situation like that and you're like, the big guy, we would keep it away from the boss, but yeah, we're going to go play and have some fun, or so we're going to do something that we're not supposed to do, something like that. So I'll defend Pitino and say he probably had no idea. Even the guy, so the one coach with some authority that orchestrated all this, there's no way he's telling Pitino that. What's Pitino going to sign on to that, or what's he going to turn a blind eye? No, he doesn't want the scandal. He knows how easy scandal is to come by. I mean, he's been through it. So that's the last thing he wants is more. Pitino does not want more scandal. He would absolutely probably cut off an arm of the team to not have scandal in this particular situation. So I don't think I don't hold him accountable at all. It's just an unfortunate situation. But I mean, as far as him leaving, I don't know what else he has to prove. I don't know why he would stay at this point. I mean, it's just unless he just doesn't want to look like somebody fleeing the scene. Right. But yeah, I don't know. There's just no incentive for him to say, let alone if he leaves, it'll be on his. It'll be a mutual thing, I think.
That's a soundbite to let you know we're moving to the next topic. Popped open the beer. Next topic. Jamie threw this out, or was it Jamie? Not throws. I actually knew the story, but Jamie wanted to talk about it now, as I did too. The topic is there was the story involving this individual that was female was guilty of involuntary manslaughter. It was the texting suicide verdict, if you will. She's a Massachusetts woman, she was found guilty of encouraging her boyfriend to commit suicide through text messages. Jamie, you did not agree with this decision.
Oh my gosh, this makes me livid. Because freedom, I believe in freedom of speech. I really just think this is a violation of her right. Now, I don't think she's a good person. I think she's actually kind of psychotic. She was on a drug that I'm very familiar with. I actually have a family member who became homicidal on the drug that she was on. So I have a different opinion entirely just based off that alone, that this was a girl with a teenage girl with a developing brain. Kids are idiots for a reason. It's because their brain isn't fully developed to begin with. And then she was heavily medicated with an antidepressant that can have the side effect of making you suicidal and homicidal. Secondly, I think that, they were internet boyfriend and girlfriend. So they had met once or twice, but they were far away from each other. They didn't see each other on a regular basis. So I feel like there's a disconnect with reality, especially in kids. Now, as an adult, we might have a little bit better idea that, hey, this is an actual person I'm talking to. But I think every human being, to a degree, has a disconnect when they are on a computer or texting that they are actually talking to a real human being. So to think this girl could spend 20 years in jail because of text messages that she sent to a person she had met once or twice, and he had tried to commit suicide several times before. So he talked about it and romanticized it with her on a regular basis. She was constantly trying to talk him out of it. Well, suddenly she changed her story, and I think she started to try to call him on his bluff. I think it was like, well, just do it then. You talk about it all the time. You keep threatening it. You've tried it. Just do it. I think she was trying to call him on his bluff, and I could go on and on, but it's a freedom of speech violation. She can say what she wants. She's guilty of some shit, for sure. Involuntary manslaughter? No, I completely disagree with that verdict.
Okay. I always hear the freedom of speech card, and I'm totally with it. But with every action, there is a reaction. Just because you have the right to say it, the free speech gives you the right to say it. Sometimes and I'm saying this in general, not to you, James, but sometimes your ignorance to something you're not going to be able to cash a check that your mouth is wrote for you because you've just fucking crossed the line. Russ, are you familiar? Did you get to do your homework with this topic?
Yeah. I've done just about, you can't believe how quick my mind works on homework. So I'm thinking Jamie's got a personal stake in this. She's probably told a few ex-boyfriends to go, kill themselves or jump off a bridge or something. So she's hoping to precedent.
Wow. Good God.
Well, I know that I've had a couple of ex-girlfriends tell me to go kill myself. So I'm just guessing, it must be a whole girl thing. But more than that, I mean, you got artists like Nicki Minaj in one of her songs, Check It Out. She actually said, haters, you should kill yourself. And so, I mean, what is Nicki Minaj, if one of her haters actually commit suicide, she may be on the hook. She told him to kill himself in the song, which was played, multiple times and on YouTube. So, yeah, we got to be careful. I mean, if, somebody tells you to go jump off a bridge and you do it, then, they are fucked.
Well,
hey, Kevin.
No, now there,
kill yourself.
Nicki Minaj is generalizing. She's playing to an audience where, in this case, Russ, this lady, whatever, there's text messages. There's messages going back and forth, and actually, I'm looking. This was the prosecution's take. The guy got out of his truck. I guess he was scared or whatever, and she texted him, "Get back in." And this is according to a friend who's seen the text messages. This female is within messages is claiming after the fact that she could have done something to stop it. So she's kind of put herself out there as far as potentially assisting with this. And no offense, manipulation is we all can. Some of us can manipulate others better than we probably should, and so yeah.
Can I bring up one more point before we move to the next subject? I just want to make one more point about this.
Go.
A friend of mine commented, so I can't take credit for it, but I thought it was an incredible point. He talked about how, let's say a kid decides that he wants to rob a bank, and he doesn't really know how to do that, but he wants to get a hold of some cash because he wants to, buy some video games and be able to, take off and run away from home, whatever. So he starts sharing the idea with his buddy, and one of his buddies knows somebody whose dad works at the bank, and they can get a hold of all the stuff, and they can tell him what to do, and they can show him exactly where to go and how to dress. And let's say he ends up carrying out the whole entire act based off, spreadsheets and information and details that were given to him by his friend. Should the friend be charged? Is he the one that didn't participate but gave that information to the person who carried out the crime? Should he be charged?
Well, last I checked, bank robbing.
What was that, Russ? You're cutting out.
So last time I checked, bank robbing consultant is a crime. So yes, he will be charged. He is an accessory to the crime.
Charged in this? Right, but involuntary manslaughter isn't an accessory to something. They're saying she killed him. They're saying because of her he died.
That's bogus too. I mean, there's no fewer than 30 women who told their boyfriends to kill themselves on Diffie Highway tonight. I mean, so yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely absurd.
And we're going to get to a point of government overreach here. Over the years, this will become more and more of the fucking word police. You're not allowed to say that. It's censorship. It goes against the Constitution. It goes against what this country was founded on. You cannot. As much as we hate her and we think that, she's a psycho bitch, I don't think she deserves to get charged basically with murder here. An involuntary manslaughter is that. They're saying she killed him, and that is unconstitutional, and I think it's going to get repealed.
the word police are on both sides of the spectrum, though. You realize that, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're not saying that she killed him. They're saying that she was she was a part of it.
Well,
she
we kind of segued on the word police there, though. The word police was a little bit of a segue into, a liberal conservative thing. And some of the first word police were like Tipper Gore with her, censorship of music. And then there's even more word police on, not telling Christians that they're batshit crazy for believing in a 2,000-year-old mythological book, shit like that. They get pretty pissed off about those words.
Right. They do. They still do. Anyway.
Right. People get pissed off about it, but you're free to say it.
Well, until Trump goes to the thing saying, Christians are going to be protected under my administration because I like to tell people ridiculous stuff.
All right. Next topic. Otto Warmbier. I hope I say it. Yeah. He was the prisoner or the individual that North Korea had held prisoner for over a year, almost 2 years. He returns to the U.S. after they let him go in a coma. Comes to find out he's been in a coma for about 14 months. Today he was officially pronounced dead. Sad fucking situation. Jamie, how should we respond to this?
Well, I'll tell you what has been kind of appalling to me. People that are just completely unempathetic to his situation. I've seen a lot of sympathy for his family and for what happened, but then I've also seen people that are kind of like, well, he got what he deserved. He went over there and acted like an idiot in a country that's not America. There's a whole lot of white privilege talk that comes up. Well, he's privileged, so he thought he could get away with it anywhere. And this is some kind of testament to the white privilege that he experiences in America. I think that's a crock of shit because we're all privileged in the United States of America. You're not going to get punished with, 15 years, I think, of hard labor. It was his initial punishment for stealing a poster at a hotel. So I just think it's sad the way that some people are kind of like, he was an idiot and that's what you get. Because, again, we're talking about a kid, a 20-something-year-old. I don't even know if he was 22 when it happened. I know he was 22 today when he passed. But we all do dumb shit at that age. So it's completely depressing, and I think that we need to respond. I don't know. I wish they would share more details with us about why he was released and why he was sent back in the first place, but they wanted to make an example out of him. And I think they intentionally destroyed him, and they were saying that the injuries he had, his blood circulation had been cut off, and he did get enough blood to his brain, and that's what killed his brain. They don't know it even. They can't even say what was done to him, but they tortured him, and it's just preposterous. It's devastating.
Yeah, but I won't talk about white privilege at all. I won't say he, deserved it or anything like that. But I will say that if you're in North Korea, you better straighten the fuck up. I mean, I don't care if you're North Korean, especially if you're an American. I'd say Kim Jong-un is he's probably just itching to do some shit. Yeah, so I don't have it doesn't take any precursors like white privilege or anything like that for me to say, yeah, dude. If my best friend calls me and says, hey, I'm going to North Korea, I'm like, but dude, straighten the fuck up and don't get. There's one law over there, and it's whatever the supreme leader says, or the great leader, or the dear leader, or whatever bullshit. I mean, they sing hymns to him, to this crazy motherfucker. So yeah, you better straighten. I mean, hell, if you go to Tijuana, Mexico, you better straighten the fuck up. Let alone North Korea.
What's remind me? Jamie, you know this. Was he a student there? Why was he there?
I believe he was just with a travel group, honestly. I think he was literally just with a tourist group, a tourist group. I believe it was part of like a study abroad thing, but I think the university, don't quote me on it, but I think they gave him options, gave the students options on where to go. Yeah.
I just right now, and granted, he had been there, actually he's been there, closer to 2 years. So, and I've heard, depending on which side of the fence you're on, Obama should have done more, blah, blah, blah. And then, that drives me crazy. But I just, to Russ's point, if one of my friends said, oh, I'm going to go over to North Korea and hang out with some study group, and I'm like, I would kind of think I'd do everything in my power to try to talk them out of, is there something in Italy you can go to, or some other, the Fiji Islands, something, but not North Korea. All right, I've pushed my last guest to 11:15, so we can the three of us can have our,
pushy.
Monday night threesome together, figuratively, not literally, figuratively. This is how we roll. But I have to ask, and I know, Jamie, I'm gonna say I tried, but I can't do it. Only because, I got to go into some politics here. It starts with the Congressman Steve Scalise, who was shot last week, and all the fallout that's come out of it. And I'm not going to go into detail. I would never, no matter which side of the fence you're on, unless you kill people, then that's the only time I'm going to wish death upon you. Or you hurt somebody very close to me, family, friends, and I'll wish it. But this case, the politics aside, political views, no, that's a little too much. And then you got, I'm narrating this until I get you guys going. Somebody like Newt Gingrich, the shooting is a part of a pattern on the left. And then basically it was now both sides are saying, well, it's the left's voice is instigating this kind of stuff. And then of course, or the right saying that about the left, but then you got somebody like, and I watch this, and I know Russ, you watch it too, Bill Maher, Friday night show, real time. He basically reached out to Ted Nugent, who is a strong right guy, an NRA guy, a guy that did once say for Barack Obama to suck on my machine gun. And you can kind of visualize the rest of it. But Bill acknowledged that there's so much hate right now on both sides that it is time that something needs to be done. So Bill kind of threw the first bone out to Ted, like, Ted, you're one of the voices of the right. Meet me halfway. Ted responded back. And so there's this whole thing between the two of them. Starting with Russ. Russ, we are more divided than ever in this nation. Mm-hmm. You can't really have a conversation with someone who is diehard political and not feel like, God, are they going to fucking slash my tires after the fact? But after the shooting last week until now, is it really our wake up call to say, come on, people, we got to get our shit together?
I mean, I have a very monolithic philosophy on this, and my philosophy is the people who want to do business, the people who want to keep things running smoothly, are the closer to the center you are, the closer you are to at least acknowledging and tolerating other people's dipshitted views, the better you are, you're going to be. So, I mean, but we have to move away from the fringes. I mean, the people who go out on both sides, the people who go out like, the nut job PETA people who, go around throwing paint on fur, and the nut job, Westboro Baptist Church Christians who go around, even protesting military funerals because, whatever. These are nut job fringe people. They need to be ignored by whoever is, even if your views are somewhat aligned with them, they need to be ridiculed and ignored. So that because they do the most damage to the people who, like the Westboro Baptist Church does the most damage to people who are just kind of, pro-life and wanting to, go along their mission and say, oh, I want to save, unborn babies because I believe some nonsense or something, whatever they believe. But, so yeah, they're actually hurting those people, just like this, if this guy was, some kind of leftist, whatever, he's hurting people like Bernie Sanders who just want to help more people and raise consciousness and make people realize that 1% of the world controls all of or 1/10 of 1% of the world controls all the wealth on the planet. So, I mean, the fringe people need to be ostracized, ignored, absolutely, made to feel like, that they're insignificant. And because the more they're made to feel insignificant, the more they'll reveal themselves. And that's what these people who act out like this are nut jobs that feel insignificant. And that's the end of the discussion. I mean, reaching out to Ted Nugent, I would have picked somebody else. I mean, he's just a whole hodgepodge of crazy that I don't think you're going to really break through too much. But, I would have went. I mean, I think Rush Limbaugh would probably make more sense than Ted Nugent, but Rush Limbaugh is just part of the puppet show, just like,
Oh, it's but Ted's a good start. I think, Jamie, you've seen it. You've been on our discussions. You kind of see how kind of intense some of the political topics can be on this show, isn't it time that we all kind of like simmer down and like, come on, guys, enough's enough. We have ventured to that far extreme, in my opinion. It's time to veer back.
Yes, because I think that it's becoming more and more common to sound really extreme in your political stance. And it's so easy. Just like we were saying earlier, it doesn't matter what the topic is. People will say anything on the freaking internet, man. That hasn't changed. People will say anything. And some of the things that get tweeted out, I mean, normal, everyday people with real jobs who function in society are tweeting things like that they think that Scalise should have died. He should have died. You know, and I don't care that that's some fucking leftist extremist opinion, because there's also pretty extreme alt-right opinions out there as well that are just as dangerous. And people will just tweet out like that you should die. And we have freedom of speech. And so nobody is, like I said, I don't believe in the word police. I think it's bullshit. But I think that Russell has the right idea, that these people should be, you know, pretty much ostracized. They should be called out and made to feel like they aren't a part of the group, because, you know, regardless, we all have to get through this together. We may not think that we're on the same plane, but we are all on the same fucking plane. You know what I mean?
No, we are.
Yeah,
I think it's the fact that if Bill Maher and Ted Nugent can get together, and to your point, Russ, I know it's crazy as it sounds, but that is a start when it comes to the celebrities who do talk from one extreme to the other. If those two who are clearly on different sides can meet in the middle, I'll pay attention. I'll listen. I will. I mean, Ted Nugent. I mean, right now, I don't agree with any of his views. Plus, I'm a city guy, so the idea of hunting food and skinning it, grill it, kill it, whatever that phrase is.
Hell yeah! I would go hunting.
That's where I agree with him, actually. I'm all about
it. I would totally go hunting.
Hunting. See, do you say hunting or hunting? There's a difference, Jamie.
I go hunting.
You go hunting. See, I'm a guy that would go hunting for wabbits. I'll say wabbit, but hunting. I had check this out. I don't know. I think it's to me, it's a compliment. The guy that a friend of mine, said it to be kind of insulting / taking a shot at me. Was somewhere, ran into a friend of mine who he's a country guy that would wear camo. He would go hunting, fishing without the G's. Just it ends with N, not the G's. Hunting, fishing, and it's like when I said goodbye to him, I gave him shook his hand, and he paused. He's like, "Man, these hands, you can't go fishing with these hands. These are city hands." And I'm like, "You know what? You're damn right. They're city hands. I can't do it. I'm not built for that. Not built for it."
Kevin, you probably don't know this about me, but I've actually killed 3 deer, field dressed all 3 of them. One year I had to field dress my buddy's deer who thought he was a country boy because he started gagging when he busted the gas sack. And then I've also video recorded myself butchering or actually harvesting and cutting up the back strap and the hams. And then I actually got a video of me going through the whole thing. I wanted the guy to show me how to take the skin the whole thing. And then I actually took it home, froze it, and cut up my own beef jerky and my own steaks and cooked all that. So yeah, I got a little bit of that survivalist in me. I'm just not a nut job.
Okay, I'm just I don't have any.
Okay,
I can't even put worms on a bait, a hook, or whatever that fishing thing is.
Oh,
I don't even want to. I don't want to.
I will survive.
You can't even say it either.
I can't.
Really sad.
I just align myself with the right people, with the people with all the guns and the what are the Russ, the Dino preppers and all that stuff. I'll align myself. I'll be buddies with them. I mean, I'll come in and I'll do the dishes. I'll vacuum. I'll do that kind of. I'll do the laundry. Just
so basically, you're telling us that you identify as a woman.
You gonna? Are you?
Without, in some ways, yeah. I'll buy into that. I mean, you're not going to get the pleasures. You're not going to get the pleasures that come with maybe a woman, but if you're okay with the dude taking the garbage out, doing the dishes, doing the laundry, vacuuming, cleaning, I know my role. My role is
Kevin,
not to hold the big gun.
If you find a guy that's keeping you around for that, Kevin, you're going to be taking a little bit more than the trash out. I can tell you that.
You need to come over to my house.
All right.
With that motivation.
We'll negotiate. You know what? For you, Jamie, I do it for you. Just to see that pretty smile in those blue eyes.
And I do have a big gun, and I'll stand there and hold the big gun while you do all my chores.
Isn't that the equivalent? That doesn't mean. Isn't that what what do they call those, Russ? What is that? A misogynist or what's the pleasure? I don't need her to hold up the a whip, to keep me in line. What do you?
You don't need to be emasculated.
I know. I mean, I just know my role. My role is not to pack the guns, not to prep. Not to get my hands dirty. It's not on that. So, anyways,
you are no fun.
All right. Your role sounds a little bit more like prison.
Yeah, I'm not, and I'm not built for prison. I couldn't last a few hours in prison. So I don't know, how do you give up? How do you wave a flag in prison? That would be me. I quit. I give. I mean, so I could.
Usually it's your underwear that gets stuffed in your mouth is the flag.
Oh my God.
All right. So all right, Jamie. We've got our guest for the last segment. Jamie, do we get to have you continue with us, or do you have to call it a night?
I have to go to bed. I got to go to bed, sweetheart.
All right. We love our Jamie. Jamie, do we get to see you later this week or anytime this week or into the weekend?
I'm definitely planning on it. I've already been talking with a few people about what's going on this week. I would love to see you guys.
Very cool. Yes, we will connect with you. And there's a lot of great bands playing this coming weekend. So I'll be in touch. We'll definitely get out.
All right. Sounds good.
Thanks, Jamie.
Bye-bye, Jamie.
You're welcome. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Jamie Jaggers hanging out with us. Now, Russ, turning on his mic. This is a first, Russ. I don't think we've ever had a guy come on the show who promotes his original seasoning. That sounds so professional and sexy at the same time, Russ. His original seasoning.
Everybody likes their own flavor, right?
Yeah. Dan, what is your flavor, buddy? Dan Oliver.
Yep. Can y'all hear me?
We can hear you.
Cool. I didn't know if I was on or not. I was trying to wrap some packages, but I didn't want to be loud.
Yeah. All right. You're on live. Now, Grant, check this out, Dan.
Yeah.
Friends of yours, Jake Badger, Kevin Cummings, reached out to me and was like, one, besides liking this guy and his seasoning, you got to hook up with this guy, talk to this guy, because this guy's legit. But I've heard nothing but good things about you. I'm looking at the Dano's Original Seasonings Facebook page, and you've got a lot of goodies here. So before we get into your seasoning thing, give us a little, what's the Dan Oliver bio? Where did all this come from?
I was born and raised in Louisville.
It's a good start.
I was actually born out in Oklahoma, like
nice.
Chef. And then when I was about 7 years old, my parents moved me up to Prospect. So I guess, I was kind of raised as like a little punk fighter, and then I got moved out to Prospect. And, everybody had to ask their parents. Everybody had to ask their parents if they go ride a bike, So that's
an East End redneck is basically what they call that.
Pretty much. I was a kid that everybody's parents was like, don't go play with that kid.
Love it.
But born and raised in. Go ahead.
In Louisville. So all your life, you've done the Louisville thing.
Yeah, I spent
school
3 years in Lexington.
Okay.
When I thought I was going to pull everything together and go to school and be a student, but I was more on like the 6-7 year program. So my brother, who was in insurance, was like, "Man, come back and sell insurance, get your license and do that." So I was like, "All right, well that sounds my whole family's in insurance anyways. They're all insurance and financial planners and So I was like, well, that's what I'm going to do. Why do I want to spend another 4 years in college when I can just go back and jump in? So that's what I did, and it was just bad timing, really, in the insurance market, and I left a bad taste in my mouth. So,
How long ago was that?
I went out.
How long ago was that? How long ago was that?
It was probably like 13 years ago, I'd say.
Yeah. Is that about, because Russ is his personal business has been roofing, so you probably could feel his pain back then, Russ, huh?
Oh, absolutely. I was going to say I got a lot of similarities. I was born in the Okolona area, and then and instead of moving on up like George and Wheezy, we went on down to Hillview. See, so Hillview was not necessarily an upgrade from Okolona, just kind of a lateral move.
Right.
Lateral.
I love the South End, though. Really, I mean, you got real people in the South End, you know.
You do. You really do.
Yeah.
And the people at Walmart too. It's always a great combination.
There you go. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Love
So,
Walmart.
Yeah, you're doing you were doing the school thing, and you decided to come back insurance. At what point did the whole seasoning thing, the food, whatever? How did this all come about?
Well, I've always had a passion for the kitchen, and my parents have always kind of been like, you should be a chef, or you should have been a chef. You know, as we got further on in life, it's like, you should have been a chef, because I always loved to cook. And really, I developed the flavor of it about 15 years ago. It was when I was in college. And it was funny how it happened, because my mom, you know, mom's being mom, giving you food to take back. And I had some bone-in, skin-on chicken breast that had been sitting in the freezer for probably 3-4 months. And, you know, it had bone-in, skin on. It wasn't just some chicken breast. It was bone-in, skin on. And I'm like, I don't know what to do with that. So it was one night, it was, you know, whatever, 2, 3 in the morning. And me and my buddy, he was like, let's eat something now. I was like, well, this is all I got. And he's like, well, thaw it out. So I thawed it out, and he went into my spice rack and was just grabbing everything, just putting it on it. And we ate it, and I was like, man, that was the best chicken I ever had. I don't know if it was because it was 3 in the morning or what. But so that kind of like, that's when I started playing around with my spice rack. Right. And I kind of developed a flavor that I've held on to for years. And every time I cook, I'd be like, all right, a little bit of this, you know, my rosemary, my cumin, and I'd throw everything in my little mortar and pestle and grind it up. And then, you know, I kept cooking with it for years and years and years. And I've always kind of had like an entrepreneurial mindset. I had 4 older brothers, so I was always like in competition. How am I going to, you know, they always had their own businesses, and I was always trying to figure out what I was going to do. And then, hell, it was about 3 years ago when I was bartending at Diamonds, because I bartended at Diamonds for like the last 5 years. And that's
so you're
like,
you and Jared are tight.
Oh yeah, me and Jared are pretty tight. So I know, you know, he's got my seasoning at his restaurant, Lulu's. But yeah, so it was about 3 years ago. This is kind of when I had what you call it your aha moment. Is when I was like, all right, that's what I'm going to do. I was bartending, and I always used to bring in like food that I would make with the seasoning that I would make. And the guy sitting on the other side of the bar that I was like sharing this half a chicken I brought in, he had just kind of looked at me funny, and he said, dude, why aren't you selling this to everybody in the world? And I was kind of like, boom, you know, my name's Dan Oliver. I was like, my name's Dan Oliver. I was like, I'll call it Danos. And I just didn't know how to start a business from anything. And from that point on, like three years ago, I just started, how do you start a business? Calling FDA, calling the health department, figuring out labels and restrictions and stuff like that. Right. Just kind of putting the pieces together.
Yeah, because your mindset as far as putting the right pieces or the right spices together to create your, you know, whatever combination you want to call it is one thing, but the hoops that you got to go through, because correct me if I'm wrong, do you have to get FDA approval?
You don't.
You
got to get
for this
health department.
Oh, okay.
I mean, there's stipulations really with dry seasonings. You can make a dry seasoning and just stick a sticker on it and call it Dale seasoning and go put it in a butcher store and sell it. Pretty much all you have to have is pretty much where it was manufactured. You don't even have to have expiration dates on dry seasonings. You don't have to have a proper seal on it. It's kind of funny the things that I figured out as I got into it. But my seasoning being the way it is, it's a low sodium seasoning. So low sodium brings in different things because now I'm making claims. So then I had to go
exactly. Yeah.
Right. So I had to spend money on like nutrition panel and stuff like
There
that.
you go.
It's like if you want to put low sodium on it and hit that market, well, you got to spend the extra money and do the extra label work, so to speak. But I knew that's my niche market. You know, I'm not just another seasoning guy. If I was, it'd be pretty hard to succeed. So I knew that I had to make it a health product, and, you know, which it was already. I just made sure that it was, and, you know, the way I market it, if you want the healthiest, best tasting seasoning in the world, go get some Danos, you know.
Now, is your seasoning, as far as the healthiest tasting seasoning out there, do you market it to be a season for other healthy foods, or do you just say, no, you don't even go there? You've got the seasoning part is yours. You can put it on whatever you want. How do you go about that?
You can put it on whatever you want. Like, I mix it in with breadcrumbs. I mix it with flour if I'm going to fry some fish.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because really, you know, the misconception is like, oh, it's low sodium, so that means it's no good. Actually, what that means is instead of the bottle of seasoning that you're buying being 80% salt, it's 80% seasoning. You know, That's why mine may cost $1 or $2 more than what you're used to buying, because you're actually getting a quality product and not a product that's full of salt. If that makes sense.
How long is it? Yeah, and it does make sense. I makes sense. I respect it. How long has this process been in the works for you? When did you first started putting together, in, you know, from a professional set, knowing that this was your baby? When did you start mixing seasonings and thus becoming Danos?
It's been pretty much 3 years since right about now, 3 years ago. And I remember when I first got the idea, when my buddy said, you need to be selling this to everybody. I was like, you're right, I do. Right. I'll call it Danos. So I went home and I started making it to where I could, like, mass produce it, and I would bring in a bunch of little ramekins, you know, little plastic ramekins, and I'd give it out to 10 people, say, hey, take this home, cook something with it, and then give me your feedback.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, hell yeah, man, that's good. So it was actually probably when I was about a year into it is when I decided I was going to make it not just a seasoning, but I was going to make it, you know, the healthy.
The low sodium.
It already was healthy, but I guess when I went further, I dove into it. It's like, all right, well, I can turn this into something more than just seasoning. You know.
So right now is this
having a business?
So yeah, right now. So
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, finish. I think you're going where I was going. Go ahead. It's not just about.
I was just gonna say I like to make people happy. Like, it's always been my passion. Like, when I bartended, I would be the bartender that'd be like, hey, you want a top shelf margarita? And I go get a couple of oranges and a lime and a lemon, and I do it all fresh squeezed. And, you know, I like to go over top for people. And it was like, man, I can make this product, this seasoning, I can get it out there and, like, give people an actual good product. Because only about 10% of the seasonings out there is what I would consider a good product. Because A, they're either full of salt, or B, they have chemicals in them, which I have neither. You know, I have a little salt, but you got to have salt to have flavor. So it was just my passion to give people a product that they can enjoy, use all they want, and be happy with, you know.
Now,
where do you buy your product to put into to make your seasoning?
Where do I buy like all
the spices at? Yeah.
Well, I probably use about 5 suppliers nationwide. You know, that's a part of it too. Is like, I'll buy my containers one place, I'll buy my lids one place, I'll buy my labels from a guy, and I'll buy my bigger bottles from a guy. Like, I might buy my 3 different size containers from 3 different people, because in the spice business, you got to sell a lot of spice to think about making money, and you got to be thrifty and get the best prices on everything. So, I mean, a lot of the legwork was like, say, take rosemary, for instance. I probably called 50 different rosemary suppliers until I found the absolute best deal I could get. And then I made my, $500 order of rosemary through them. It was funny, around Derby time, I was probably the only person in the city of Louisville with 400 pounds of garlic sitting in the living room.
It's got to be good to bring the Phillies home too. They love garlic.
Yeah.
When they're getting in the mood, anyway.
Right. All you can eat.
Absolutely. So, what is your seasoning? Is it more for like grilling, or is it more for? Is it steaks? Is it beef? Is it chicken? Or is it just a kind of a universal?
Well, it's universal. You can put it on anything, and it's actually one of the most universal products out there, because I have a vinaigrette recipe on the side of the label, and it's like equal parts red wine vinegar, white wine vinegar, Danos, and red wine vinegar. And it makes a perfect little vinaigrette. You can use that vinaigrette to make your own cucumber salad, pasta salad, or just put it on your salad. Make marinades with it. That's why I also package the large containers also. So the people who love it, I got, right now probably got 30 people that's what they buy now. They buy the big 20-ounce container because the small ones don't last long enough, and they want to use it to make marinades and everything else.
Well, I just subscribed. I just subscribed to his newsletter. Oh, Russ. So
okay.
Yeah.
And that's
what about making deals with like
Kroger,
like for making deals in Kroger and with stuff like that? Have you been able to do anything like that?
Well, the way Kroger works is they're not going to buy from. Right now I directly distribute my product everywhere. So me being the direct distributor, that means I go and I hand deliver it. I'll call Lucky's Market or I'll go check on it. All right, they need 2 cases, so I take them 2 cases. Same thing with I'm at Paul's, I'm at all the Rainbow Blossoms, Lucky's, several other stores around town. Pretty much every butcher shop in Louisville I'm in now. But I give it to them directly. But there's going to come a time like Kroger, they're not going to deal with O'Dano directly. They're going to say, all right, well, we want to buy it from the distributor. So then I have to go shake hands with the distributor, give them half my money, half my profit, whatever that may be, and not half of it. There's always a number on it. Everybody works off margins. Like retailers got to make 35% margin. Distributors work off like 25%. And then at the end of the day, if I'm not making my percent, then it's not even worth doing business. That's what all leads back to. When I'm buying all my seasonings and all my closures and my containers and my labels, if all that doesn't make sense and if I can't still make my margin, well, then I'm not doing business. So about a year ago is when I had to look at all that to be like, hey, can I really do this and make a business out of it? And luckily I could.
And?
Well, now I'm trying to talk to the distributors to get it into Kroger's. The next step will be like Kroger's regional. And then, hopefully I can get out there, get into like some newspapers, get some articles written about how healthy the product is, kind of create a demand. People go out and buy it. And then as that goes, as the big grocery stores see it moving, then it's the next step on to, maybe the little local Walmarts or wherever.
Did you have to pay you did mention that you had to pay like a nutrition company to go through and break it down and like make the label for it?
Yeah, as far as, you give them your recipe and they say, all right, well, this is your milligrams per serving. This is how much your serving weighs. And then they give you your potassium and all that. And so pretty much everything's always zeros on seasoning other than the sodium content. You can go look at any seasoning in your cabinet and it's going to say 0, 0, 0, 0. And then the sodium will probably be like 200 or 300 milligrams, which that means it's full of salt. Anything over 100 milligrams of sodium per serving has got a whole lot of salt in it.
Can we ask who are the venues or businesses that you are working with currently in the Louisville area?
Say what? Say again.
Can we ask which Louisville businesses right now are stocking, selling the Dano's seasoning?
Well, you got all the Paul's fruit markets, and then all the one Lucky's, which I sell the most at Lucky's. I've got 3 different places to buy it. I'm on both ends of the deli and then on the spice rack. And then Rainbow Blossoms, La Pasta. I sell it at a couple of nutrition, like LA Fitness, LAC, Next Level Nutrition, Prospect Party Center, pretty much any butcher shop in Louisville I sell it at.
Right. Oh. And how long has this project been going on for you?
3 years.
3
pretty much
years.
From the start when I was like, all right, this is what I'm going to do. It's been about 3 years.
It's funny, Russ, our podcast has been going on about 3 years. It's year 4 that I look at as a make or break. Is year 4 make or break for Dano?
Well, I've only been selling really for about 2 months.
2 months. Okay.
Well, I had my old packaging, and it took forever to get to the new packaging. And now I've got an abundance of it. And now it's going out there and shaking all the right hands. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I actually just took a buddy on as a partner in the business, and he's running all the everything in a week or two. The website's going to look different. All the social media, you'll see a lot more of it. You'll see a few more magic tricks. I don't know if you saw the magic trick.
I did. What magic trick?
You didn't see the magic trick when I had the little hat on? I was dressed as a little Dano, the character, the Amish dude.
I didn't. Is this on Facebook somewhere?
It is.
I'll find it.
But it's pretty funny. I got a lot of feedback off of it, so now everybody wants magic tricks.
So you're a musician or a magician as well.
Wow,
maybe we should change it. Dano's magic seasoning. That's what we need. If you're gonna have a gimmick, a magic gimmick.
Right. I was thinking, man. I was like thinking of something, and it just came to me. I was like, I'll turn a bunch of spices into Dano's, and I knew how to do it. So.
There you go. All right, Dan. This last little segment is what we call round of shots. I'm going to throw some quick questions at you. It's a quick Q&A. We just have some fun, get to know you a little better. Name the first concert that you attended.
I've only been to one.
Really?
Yeah.
And that is?
The Police.
The Police. Wow.
The Police.
Okay. Interesting.
I'm not a big music. I like music. Don't get me wrong. I'm just not a music.
But
I don't go out and try and go to the concerts and stuff.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. I'm just not a.
All right.
I'm just not a music goer.
What would you do for a day if you were? What would you do if you were invisible for a day?
If I was invisible.
Yeah, for a day. What would you do?
Because it sounds like I think I'd just work on my business.
Russ, what would you do if you were invisible for a day?
Oh, invisible.
Yeah.
Invisible, yeah.
Oh, man.
Probably
go on, answer,
do something. Yeah, I'd probably do something to, I don't know, I'd go to the New York Stock Exchange and try to figure out some way to get some insider trading or something. It'd definitely be some way to make money or something. I don't know.
Gotcha. All right. Dan, if you could time
business, I thought you said physical, like if I was like I couldn't move or something. Like,
yeah,
I'm sorry.
No, yeah, I'm sorry.
But
all right,
I'd definitely go play all the ponies.
Play all the ponies. All right, Dan, if you could do time travel, can go anywhere in the past, where would you go?
I imagine I'd like to go back to the 50s. I could probably
60s?
Go back to the 50s. No, the 50s.
50s. Okay. All right.
See when everything started to evolve, all the innovation, all the inventions.
All right. What's your favorite ice cream flavor?
Chocolate.
If you could be a cartoon character for a week, who would it be?
What was the ostrich? Roadrunner. Meep.
Let's see. What's a Dan pet peeve?
People being rude.
Dan, do you prefer cake or pie?
Pie.
Pie. When you sleep, do you like your sheets tucked in or out?
Oh, out.
Out. Right now, who would be your celebrity crush?
Is she a celebrity? Lori off Shark Tank?
She's your celebrity.
All right.
Russ,
Frisbee,
you have a question.
Or boomerang? Yeah, frisbee or boomerang. Frisbee or boomerang. If you have boomerang, it's going to come back to you. Yeah, of course, it'll come back to you. Frisbee, if there's nobody to catch it, you're just going to lose it. It's just going to keep going.
There you go.
Trying to mix up these questions a little bit,
Yeah, Russ, what was your question about bag chicks?
Oh, well, I mean, are there seasoned groupies? I don't even know if they're seasoning groupies. You ever get some, mom in there say, "Ooh, I really like this. I'd like to have you come over and cook it for me." So you get any celebrities like you do. Maybe you could do like a signing, and you might get some seasoning groupies. I feel like that. It may not be a thing yet, but we should work towards it.
You never know. There's a world of opportunity out there.
Yeah,
still early in the
process.
Never
say never. That's right.
Right.
Okay. All right. Dan, share with us all of your social media. Where do people connect with you?
Right now, I'm mainly just Facebook and Instagram, and just started my YouTube page. And I'm getting ready to get Pinterest and Snapchat and Twitter and all that going.
I hear you.
But right now,
Conquering the world.
Instagram and Facebook. It's free. You got to use it.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard to get people to buy seasoning. No matter how good you say it is, people just got to try it. And then
No, I've got to find out where this is because I do cook a lot at home, and I do use seasoning for my steaks, my chicken, pork, all of it. I do use seasoning. So this is, to me, I've got to connect with you to make this happen. So, yeah, I reached out to a couple of our buddies to see if they're available. I don't know what they're doing. Let's see. Russ, ask Dan that question, or did you already ask him?
I already did about just about.
Okay.
It's always about picking up chicks. So when you start a business, the end goal is to make enough money to pick up hot chicks. That's why I always try to gear towards that.
Now, Dan, are you single, married? What's your status?
I am. I'm single, and
okay.
I pretty much I live at home under a rock right now.
Yep.
I don't have a lot of money to go out and go around, so I just try and.
We should connect. I work from home. I live at home by myself. Somebody like you would be kind of like my perfect mate roommate to hang with. It. He's got his side of the house. I got mine, but everything at that point would be cut in half because our place, would just. Well, Dan, we'll talk offline. We're rambling now.
Right.
I want Dan to sprinkle some of his seasoning stuff on my food.
I'll do it, man.
I'll do it.
Once you go Dano's, you don't go back.
We need to have a shooting from the lip cookout with nothing but the seasoning on everything.
Exactly.
You do it at a music event.
I wear my family out with it. They're like, "Are we going to have Dano's on everything again?" I'm like, "Yep."
Yes, I want to. We should, Russ. That's what we need to do. We should figure out a shooting from the lip day event where we just line up the food. Dan comes with his spices, his mixes, and then we just freaking gorge, man. We could do this together. We really can.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Kevin Cummings is
somebody with a poker.
Right. Kevin Cummings is our guy. Jake Badger's our guy. Those guys are take care of Dano. He's the man. So yeah, we're taking care of him. So all of us will take care of each other, as the plan goes. Yeah, I'm excited. I wanna go buy some meat and buy his seasoning and just see what happens. Russ, bring your meat. Bring your meat, Russ, and I'll go get his seasoning. Let's see what happens.
I just feel like you're going to burn it, though. I feel like you're going to burn it.
No, I do not. I followed the rules. I do not burn shit. I follow the rules.
Are you? But how do you eat your steak? Let me just ask you that right now.
With my mouth?
No, I'm talking about what temperature do you cook your steak at?
Oh, it's medium at best.
Oh God,
At best, it's maybe between medium and medium rare. You got to have some juices. You got to have it.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah, it's medium rare or GTFO. That's in the highbrow steak community.
Right.
Depends on what slice of meat though, because the medium rare on a cheap cut of meat. Yeah,
that's a good point too. Right.
That's a little
See,
risky. Yeah, that's true. It'd be tougher than a $2 steak.
All right, Dano, where's next for you to start conquering? Where are you going from here as far as locations to sell your thing?
I'm in all the mom and pops, so really my next step is to start working on the distribution. And another thing about distribution is when you get set up and they're going to help me get into Kroger, well, they also want all my accounts from all the other stores that I have, to make it worth their while, and that's just the nature of the beast.
Right.
So I'll have to give up a lot of money, to get them to distribute me, but then I'm getting into Kroger's. So, the next step is to get into Kroger's, and then, maybe I get into Maher's. I haven't even picked up the phone with Maher's. I'm really shooting for Cracker Barrel.
Mm-hmm.
It's perfect product to get into Cracker Barrel, either a little country store or just have some Dano seasoning in there.
Right.
So, the opportunity for so many places, because there's also the food industry, which I'm trying to go retail right now, which retail is actually the hardest thing to succeed in because the margins are just so low. But you can sell a lot more of it, and that's why I'm kind of chasing the retail, is because if I can get people to realize how they've been flavoring their food and how they can flavor their food, And once so many people, and I can create a wave to where people were like, "Damn, Danos is the shit." Well, then it's then I've done what I wanted to do. People now know,
right?
And then I can work on other aspects, not just retail, but go into the food service industry side of it. And so, I mean, really,
very cool.
It's kind of a day by day, baby steps kind of type deal. Make a little progress. I'm in all these grocery stores right now, but also need to go out there and demo the product every day. Go out there and make some skillet potatoes, put my seasoning on it, put it on a toothpick, and get it in people's mouths so they actually taste it.
Exactly.
So, there's a lot of work
very
ahead.
Cool.
I mean, I almost feel like I've just begun. Like I've spent the 3 years to get to this point to where I actually went out and manufactured $10,000 worth of product. Well, now it's time to sell it. So now it feels like it's just starting.
I'm with you. I know what you mean. Yeah. Lots of luck there as we wrap up our third segment. The third segment is with Dan Oliver and his Dano's Original Seasoning. He has got it going on. He's going to be loading up the stuff, the meat, everything.
Just put some Dano's on it.
Yeah. Connect with this guy. It's on Facebook. It's Dano's Original. His Facebook, it's Dan Oliver, but you can eventually connect with the work he's doing as well. So, Dan, is there one right now? If I say, Dan, give me everything I need for a successful dinner.
Successful steak dinner. Are we grilling it? Well, you need a cast iron skillet. I
want grilling it. I also want mushrooms and onions with it. So.
Well, I make the best mushrooms and onions you've ever had. You get a little butter and a little water, and you put it, cut up your onions, cut up your mushrooms, and throw it in a little pan, and put maybe a couple tablespoons of Dano's in there with it. And let that cook down, and that little broth that you get from it is delicious.
Wow!
And then my favorite way to do a steak is absolutely 100% in a cast iron skillet. And I just put olive oil in there, and I heavily coat my steak with the Dano's because you can heavily coat it because it's not full of salt. Right. I always use the spicy one. To give it a kick. And, sear it, depending on how thick your steak is. I'll sear it for a couple minutes on each side. And if it's super thick, if it's like a 3-inch thick steak, I'll sear it for 2 minutes on each side and then throw it in the oven 400 for like 10 minutes.
Right.
But it all depends on the cut of the steak. So.
There you
go. That's my recommendation. Always use cast iron.
Always use cast iron. Yeah, I'm getting that set too. Dan Oliver. Russ, you still there?
Yeah, Russ? I'm still here. I was just watching the magic trick. I was wondering how he did that with the card there.
Okay, well, back to us. Dano is I think he's gonna change the way I will be fixing food, and I can't wait to incorporate his genius when it comes to the seasoning. So
what do y'all think about this? I've been looking for some slogans for T-shirts. I want to get some T-shirts made up, but put some Dano's on it, or change.
Do you have a guy? Do you have a guy that you can go make your T-shirts?
Yeah, he did all my product labeling.
Okay, all right, go ahead.
Yeah. Wow, you got somebody?
That does for the shooting from the lip portion. Yeah.
Okay.
So I look forward to trying this because I'm a meat guy. I like sauces and spices. So
I'm sure you'll enjoy it, man.
Yeah. Very.
Yeah, if y'all line something up and you're gonna have some food to throw on a grill, invite me over.
Invite you over.
Definitely need to have a cookout.
We do. We
cookout. It'll be the company, the yearly company picnic.
We can arrange that. We will arrange that soon. All right, guys. Dan, thanks for your time tonight.
Thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Jake Badger, Kevin Cummings, who said nothing but good things to you and made sure that you were on the show with us tonight. Good people. So we will get Dan back on to help us, Russ, slay our, whatever meat monster we want to eat. We gotta get it flavored up. So
I'm gonna need you to dip into petty cash, and I'll go out shopping and get a bunch of steaks for everybody.
So, all right, Dan, where can we find you on social media?
The best place right now is Instagram and Facebook. Dano's Original Seasoning.
Very cool.
On both of them.
Okay.
And it's pretty simple. As soon as you put in DANOS, it usually pops up right there first. So.
Gotcha. All right, from my man Russ Hinkle. What time is it right now? It's midnight, which technically is Tuesday morning. For all our friends signing off on this early Tuesday morning, and then those who will be on later Tuesday morning, Kevin and Russ bid you a very good Monday night and a fabulous Tuesday. Peace out, Louisville.